Welcome back to Fight Night.
Oh, Game 5 begins. A Druid on Druid, pretty epic match. However, you did have a lapse in your creativity. There is no wager, is there?
I've decided to give it the well-fought I concede.
Okay.
I've been beaten by the Kriparian.
No.
Defeated.
All right. Well, I get to win one, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, I have Mo3 now.
Well,
thanks.
That sucks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I feel a little bad.
Yeah. Well, I would be spamming like PJ Salts in the Twitch chat right now.
Not that bad anymore. So we can talk about the details between the Druid decks now, as the players have their headphones on. They can't hear what we're talking about. We mentioned the Black Knight. The Black Knight is a significant thing, as, you know, I mean, there's a lot of taunts on both sides. One thing we didn't really talk about is, yeah, you got the big taunts, especially the really big taunts, potentially from the Mark of the Wild plays with Forsen's Druid, but Kitkatz Druid has the Defender of Argus, which are, as far as I can tell, not in Forsen's. So in terms of quantity of taunt cards for Black Knight to actually hit something, I think the odds are about even.
Yes and no. I think that the taunts that are on the sides of Kitkatz, more so you're going to be using Defender of Argus to like push damage and force like really efficient trades. Like if you both have Yeti out, you can make your Yeti hit their Yeti and then
not die.
Yeah. And that's like a really huge play. But Black Knighting there is like 2 damage. Whereas Ancient of War comes down for Forsen, and then you're looking at 10 damage being dealt with Black Knight at that point.
Oh, double Wild Growth.
Wow. This
in
is
Forsen's hand.
I'm surprised he kept a coin when he had a Wild Growth.
Well, how else are you going to play Ragnaros on turn 5?
Oh, that's a good point. There's no big game hunter in Kitkatz's deck, I don't think. Oh, there is a big game hunter. I lied to you.
Yep.
Ignore what I said.
Okay.
I see everything.
Well, one thing that I think is pretty important is like the Warlock deck really couldn't push through damage on the taunts, but the Druid can. The Druid is one of those classes that you're never going to drop silence just because Keeper is so strong.
Right.
And that really punishes some of the big taunts, especially the Ancient of War, because, you know, it makes it from a 5/10 taunt to just a 5/5 for 7.
Right. So Keeper is actually even 5 damage in that instance.
Yeah. So Keeper is just a phenomenal card that, you know, Kitkatz hasn't drawn yet, but I'd imagine, you know, by the time it becomes an option to play one of the Ancient of Wars, may become an option to punish it.
Sure. So I think Forsen was thinking about double Wrathing this turn. Elected to go with Wild Growth and Wrath for 3. I like that as well. The issue here is if he decides to Defender, because he thinks that's telegraphed of Keeper or not. What he doesn't know is that his opponent has Wrath as well. I agree with the charge here.
Okay. You can charge?
Whoa! That is something else. Oh, that plays around a swipe and a hero power as well. I guess that's not the...
You mean that swipe?
Yeah, that swipe.
Okay.
So what do you do here now if you're Forsen? Do you still just Keeper? Do you Keeper and Mark the Wild?
I think that's fair.
Or are you afraid of Black Knight in that instance?
You don't have that much of a better play.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like you have to do that. Wrath is going to do anything. Hero power won't do anything. The Mark of the Wild at least has a good chance to stem the damage.
There's another option. You can swipe the Druid of the Claw or Wrath, the Yeti for 1, and set up the Druid of the Claw for a Keeper play next turn.
I like that as well.
I'm not so sure about this. Set up for a swipe.
Yeah, that's a little interesting. He does have Ragnaros next turn, though.
Yeah, I was going to drop a Cairn. Cairn just eats up the Rag hit for funsies.
Yeah, a third of the time here anyway. Kitkatz's face actually isn't really that big of a threat either. Like if the Ragnaros hits... Wow! Okay, that might end up being a pretty significant threat.
Alright.
Double Mark of the Wild Ragnaros may be a bit much to deal with.
You think if a Rag gets played, it doesn't die immediately?
It depends. If it hits the Druid of the Claw, it's not dying immediately, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ragnaros
So it's
is now,
dying immediately.
Yeah, I imagine it's dying immediately. There is something to be said for pushing damage, though. But this probably isn't the spot to be doing it. I like Ancient here. And
yep. Ancient of Lore.
And then just
refunnel the poor value that you get from killing Ragnaros.
Right.
I mean, Ragnaros had a lot of investment for it to come out this turn. Those Wild Growths were cards as well.
Right.
And the coin, I mean, he gave up the early tempo lead.
Yeah,
Try to
the
get
only thing I
Ragnaros
think
out
he's thinking
early.
about is if he draws Black Knight here, he may decide to go for face still. Or
Oh
if he draws
my.
Big Game Hunter, he may not decide to go for...
This might be
Ragnaros either.
catastrophic.
Yeah, this could be very significant.
Oh no.
Yeah, that can spell really bad. That is a double-edged sword right now.
This is basically poker, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, this is...
You get like the second nuts and you feel
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And you make the terrible decision.
Yeah, this is brutal. This is like when you have like the one card in the middle and the one card on bottom straight, and they have the one card in the middle and the one card on top straight. And you're
Okay.
like, oh, okay, great. You had the old Jack 8 suited here.
All right.
It's gonna blow me out of the water. I think
I-
he's still thinking about killing the Ragnaros though.
Oh, this might be a 7 out of 10 player kind of play. Wow. And he does make it.
Wow, that's either
That's why he is 7 out of 10, ladies and gentlemen.
that is a pretty good read.
Mm-hmm.
Now Forsen's actually not in the greatest shape. He's got a lot of removal in his hand, but he doesn't really have any gas outside of that. Azure Drake could be changing that though. I think it's tough to not swipe if you wrath for one though. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, swipe often doesn't hit multiple targets in this matchup.
Sure. I feel like you swipe in Mark of the Wild here.
More
And
swipe.
now on the other side of the coin,
So here we will see
I think you see swipe Yeti,
Swipe Yeti.
and then just start going for face. He's got so many minions in his hand, he can afford to pressure.
Okay.
He could also afford to trade, though. There is something to be said for that. But I think 5 damage is not worth the keeper.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you're forcing, you don't feel that bad. Double swipe actually clears the board here.
Oh, double faceless.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Just a little?
I would have liked to see double swipe here, actually.
Okay.
Especially if you have 2 faces in your hand, because next turn you can just 4-6 and then copy it.
Alright, what is he hoping to get here with the Azure Drake?
Almost certainly swipe.
What do you swipe? The keeper?
I think you swipe the keeper and run the Yeti in.
Okay.
You could also just, you could Azure Drake and then Defender of Argus.
Yeah.
You could also do this in Defender of Argus.
You can also keeper and Defender of Argus.
He's gonna do this Defender of Argus and then Hero Power,
Okay.
and he's gonna hold the keeper for Ancient of War.
Yeah, that is the better decision. The Ancient War doesn't get hit by the big game.
Wow! What a power draw! He does have to be thinking about combo here, though.
You can't.
Yeah, I don't
really
think you can play that yet. You gotta wait. I'm curious if I feel like he's waited too long on the Mark of the Wild. I feel like he should have been marking. He should have marked a lot earlier.
Well, you use the mark now.
Yeah, because now he's just giving up his 2-1. I'm a little. I think that's questionable as well.
Oh,
That's
my.
a pretty big draw, though. You might see that get silenced next turn unless Ysera comes down.
Okay.
Also a big draw.
Yeah.
Is this lethal next turn?
So he has the Silence on the Watcher for 8, swipe for 6 because of spell damage, and another 1/7.
So not
One
quite.
off.
Yeah, he's 1 off. Wow, this is a rough hand. Because you got to be worried about Black Knight too, because he's had 2 cards been sitting in his hand for a while now. If he's been paying attention, that sort of thing.
There's no decision making here, I feel.
You don't think there's merit to copying the Drake and marking?
No. Forsen's just praying here that he doesn't die.
Wow, this is a big decision from Kitkatz too. Do you silence the Ysera or do you silence the Watcher? I think you silence the Watcher. I think you got to go for face. Like, you're so close as it is. I think you silence the Watcher and then taunt up the 2/4.
I think you go for face because if you don't go for face, you still get punished in the future by an Awaken.
Right.
and that's just a huge game changer otherwise. And the only way you get around that is with putting your opponent below 5 health
for the swipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Forsen's not out of this yet.
No, not by any means.
There's no solution through the taunt at this point in time.
Right. Yeah, I like going for the face here. And then I think you taunt up just the 2/4.
For the wild.
Force your opponent to attack your less valuable minions. I disagree with that.
Shields up.
Although this does, in theory, put more damage on the board as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Sarah doesn't quite punch through the Ancient of War, and there's no way he's using his face on the Ancient right now.
Oh, hello there.
Molten Giant's an okay draw, but on the other side of the coin, this is a Mark Faceless turn for sure.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's marking the right one too. This is bad news for Kitkatz.
My greetings. My greetings. My greetings.
I shall bring you breath.
Kitkatz looks devastated. Have you seen him this way before?
He looks like he's confused by his opponent's draw. Can he push through a damage here? That's the question.
That is not a good draw.
That is not a good draw right now.
There is no worse card, because that actually does nothing and you can already play all your hand.
Yeah.
That hero power is basically. You just drew hero power.
Yeah, that's really bad. That Molten Giant draw had to be the best draw in the deck.
Yeah. Even without it, but with the Molten Giant, it pretty much threatens lethal.
That's the second swipe in Kitkatz's hand, right?
I'm not sure.
Or was it Forsen that swiped earlier?
Welcome to casting. You're bound to look dumb.
I don't know if it's the second swipe or not. I don't remember.
Are you trying to get me in on this? Are you trying to get me to commit to 2 or 1 swipes?
No, if he has a
Because I have no idea.
if he has a second swipe, he's obviously got to play for the swipe at this point.
All right.
Like, there's no other play here. You have to play for the swipe. I think he's counting to see if he swipes a minion or swipes the face. 6 damage and 3 damage. That's not gonna be enough.
It's still, I mean, because he does 3 to the player, still prevents Awaken next turn. I think swiping USR is just fine.
Yeah, I agree. His opponent's drawn 3 dream cards at this point too, so it's very likely he's got something like Awakens.
Forsen's pretty happy right now.
You got to be comfortable when your board is 2, 6, 10 plus.
6-14.
The old 6-14 taunt.
Yeah.
Black Knight's a pretty good draw next turn, I think. Savage Roar wouldn't be too bad.
That's why he decides to sacrifice the one bigger creature rather than 2 smaller ones.
Yeah, he's got to kill the Sarah, and he definitely wants. Savage Roar is like, I think, one of the only cards that climbs him out of this.
Oh, how's it going? There's a good card. There's a good card. Oh, he doesn't Emerald Drake.
For the wild.
I'm a little surprised by the Blood Mage attack. I think I would force him to do that. Actually, that's really good because it prevents Savage Roar from being potentially brutal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to do it.
Force of
Wow.
nature. Imagine he had drawn Savage Roar instead of Harvest Call.
Wow, this.
Because the iterate would have pumped it.
Yeah, is that the win? Yeah.
Yep. Well, welcome to 04 land.
Feels interesting.
Well, your team's currently 0-4. You must be feeling thrilled.
Solid.
Solid.
Great.
Solid.
Especially after I claimed the Hand of Midas
Yeah.
this week.
Well, we'll find out what the rest of your team thinks about this solid situation
That Druid deck, the Hearthstone Reddit with all of its stage screenshots can't come up with shit like that. What do you think?
I thought it was very creative, and the better player won this match. So I'm very happy for Forsen and ManaGrind.
You know, you were saying actually, previous to all this, that Forsen is one of the players that you really respect from that team, and that you thought he was definitely one of the top players with Dark Wonix. After watching all the games today, would you rank him first, second? Where would you put him?
I still think he's behind Dark Wonix, but as I said before, I think in maybe a few months he'll be better than Dark Wonix.
All right. You know, kind of a heartbreaking match. You guys are down 0-4 now. It's tough. Going into this ace match, how do you keep your spirits up and try to deny the all kill?
Well, you just have to think, if we get all killed, it's a f***ing embarrassment. And yeah, so you just can't let that happen.
Is there going to be too much pressure, or can you guys like calm down, play your best, and take this home? Because I know that you guys have actually prepared more for the ace match than I think any team has so far.
Well, I'm very confident in the ace match since I have my aggro teammates to back me up on the decks that I'm not as good with. And I have a feeling like we're going to be able to crush them in the ace match and kind of gain some semblance of respect from the community before they crucify us.
Well, it's when the whole team is playing it. Well, you're going to be crucified before the ace match airs, unfortunately. But you know, at least it's all the teammates playing against all the teammates. So in some ways, that's a victory in and of itself. All right. Well, best of luck there. Hope you guys can take it and avoid this clean sweep.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful to meet you.
I'm here with Forsen from ManaGrind. You just had a crazy match versus Kitkatz. You brought back the 4-0. How does it feel to get revenge on the team that beat you the last week?
It feels really good, especially since the guy I lost to was Kitkatz, and now I got my revenge on him as well. So it feels really good.
Walk us through your match a little bit. Now, you're known for playing crazy decks. The first two decks were not so crazy, but the third one was just all over the place.
Yeah.
Talk about what's going on.
Well, the third deck is a deck that I have for a long time. I really updated it for this tournament because I knew you guys were going to play a lot more aggro. So I added another Molten, and I added a Healing Touch as well. And that really helped me out in this game. So
the deck's game plan is kind of to just accelerate through the mid-game process, start playing big taunts, get the Molten Giants out for free, mark those up and copy them, and then try to completely take over the game from there.
Or you can actually, there's so many combos you can do in this deck. You can you can ramp up with Wild Groves to turn 6, play a Sylvanas or a Cairn, and then turn 7 you can just mark off the Wild and facelet it. So, and that becomes like a 7/7 Sylvanas got ×2, and it's
that has taunt and the stealing minions.
And there is no Tink Master at the moment, so it's so crazy.
Now's the time of this deck is well positioned to be against aggro, where before they just, you know, you make a 12/12 and it's actually a 1/1 score.
Yeah, actually.
And then when your opponent does it, it's a 5/5 instead. Yeah,
every time.
Really, that always feels really good.
I cry every time.
Well, okay, so now you guys are 4-0. You're going for the big sweep. This is the big money match. What does the pressure feel like?
The pressure is not that high as it was for me in before this game, but it's still, we still won a 5-0, so it's some pressure still.
Well, this is just me personally, but I like dream crushing, and I hope you guys have to be satisfied with a 4-1.
Well, I don't believe we will be, but yeah, you can try.
We're gonna do our damnedest. All right, well, congratulations on your win. And,
thanks.
We'll see you in the ace match, and let's head over to Dan.
All right, so ManaGrind, they've won a lot of money so far, but their job isn't done yet. Forsen makes the comeback with a very weird Druid deck and sends it to the ace match where ManaGrind can close out and sweep their opponents 5-0. Will clarity fall, or will ManaGrind complete it? Find out tomorrow night. We'll be here. See you guys then.